Well, it's another nice weekend up in the mountains, so we're back to the greenhouse, and Brian is finishing up the very Tiptop Hub Alignment. So just a couple left to go up there at the way top, lining those up. And then the next step after that is to add some strapping around the hubs to help with stabilization. There's also another step of adding some eye bolts to the center as well. All right, so it's all lined up, huh? Everything's pitch perfect.
Pitch perfect. All tightened up.
All right, so now you're putting on some strapping. This is for securing the...
Right, just kind of keeping those hubs from being able to twist.
Okay.
I'll get those 5 there. And then I can put one in the center, but I'll need one more for the center, and then we'll need some of the other ones.
And just nails on?
Yes.
So the additional strapping that Brian is adding around the hubs for stabilization, that was a spec that was from our engineer to meet our local county requirements of the 75-pound snow load. So that's not every dome has to have that, but it's an extra step for us to meet our county requirements for the permit. Well, I had an earlier start today, going to pick up newbies down in Boulder. So if you can see behind me, you see a little bit of flying action. That is what the day started off at, pretty early start in the morning. Thank God it was not snowing like it was last weekend. That would have been a tough installation day to bring bees into their hives on a day it was snowing. That probably wouldn't have happened. So definitely glad that the weather worked out, but I think they're going to like their new boxes, and they're I think they like the paint job, and it's nice cool weather, so they're probably trying to scout around to see if they can find anything in bloom right now, which is probably not much, but it went pretty smoothly. Got just one bee sting, not a big deal. It happens sometimes, but I was even surprised that it happened today because it was so cool out. But the new colonies that I got, they were really extra packed. Like the bees had really built up the honeycomb, so they were practically cemented in with honeycomb. I had to do a lot of work to separate all the frames because they were stuck together. It was a big challenge, so a lot of extra work, kind of stressed out the bees, and you know, I ended up with a little bee sting, but not a big deal because bee stings are therapeutic, and if you have any kind of arthritis, some people do that on purpose to, that anti-inflammatory action really helps with those kind of pains. Adding a couple little holes at the ends.
Yeah, some of them didn't. Some of them were cut like right there, so there was no
okay.
holes. In fact, there's one up there I gotta add a hole to. You don't want them to be too close to the hub. It's probably a minimum distance or something.
Oh, yeah, the straps. All right, well, it's another beautiful day today, even warmer than it was yesterday, but I'm solo today because Brian is training for a bike race. So one of the tasks that I'm going to attempt by myself is tapping the aluminum hubs to be able to put an eye bolt in the center of the hub. And Brian gave me a little bit of training last night so I could kind of practice. I'm going to practice on a couple of these hubs below before I get up on the scaffolding and start doing it. Gonna see what I can get done before Brian gets back. Okay, so that was a fun job for me, getting up on the staging there and hauling it around. That took a little bit of muscle. But so we got all the eye bolts in, but there just wasn't a way to get the nuts on. It was, in the manual it says perhaps a small-handed person could reach in between the hubs and spin the nut on. Well, it's like a Chinese finger trap in there. Once you get your fingers, and I have small hands, once you get them in between all of those struts, there's almost no getting your fingers out. And I'm on a miracle did one nut on the top, but I had to do it with two fingers that were barely touching. And anyway, that would have taken an entire day just to put the nuts on. And the manual says the nuts are optional, probably because they're tapped, right? So you got a really tight tap in there, you know, threading the eye bolt in pretty snug, you know, it's pretty tight at that last turn. I'm sure it could get a little bit tighter, but it's not for anything weight bearing. It's just for hanging maybe a pot, or the ones on the south side are for hanging the shade cloth. So it's not something that we're going to be hanging a deck from or hanging swinging furniture from. So there's a little bit more strapping to do, but Brian's picking up more strapping today at the store. And we'll finish up the strapping. I'm waiting for Brian to get back from his bike ride. He's training for a race. So we've been kind of ships in the night with our schedule, you know, where he's working during the week. And then sometimes on the weekends I have an art show. And then on half the weekend he's training for his race. So we've been trying to get work on the greenhouse and things done around here, but we're only really matching up on a single day. So it's been a little bit of a challenge. But it's a beautiful day today, and I said, if you can get that strapping, I'll finish the strapping and I'll work on it tomorrow, because we do have a slog of crappy weather coming in. It looks like it's rain, snow for the rest of the week till next weekend, and then Brian's going to be doing a race next weekend out of town. So anyhow, we'll see what we can get done. We're almost to that point of putting on the panels. All right, look who's back on the scene. Did I do a good job?
Check it out.
Yeah, I got most of them done, actually. If you look close, I got eye bolts and all the south-facing ones. Get a close-up inspection.
Yeah.
Yank on it.
Good deal.
All right. Boss approves?
Yeah, man. How are you going to get a nut in there?
No, you're not. Yeah. Probably I could see hanging some hooks and then maybe some drop-down flower baskets.
Yeah.
But tying up a trellis, probably the main thing.
Right.
But yeah, the kit came with all the eye bolts so we could do the shade cloth on the south side. So that's what I put up earlier. But then I decided just to go through and tap the rest of them just in case we wanted to do something down the road.
Now what are we doing? More strapping.
Oh yeah, more strapping.
I got more strapping.
And I've positioned it just exactly so we can reach 2 hubs at the same time.
Yeah, perfect.
It's a little wiggly with 2 people.
Yeah, it's just wiggly because it's pivoted in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
That's all.
It's a little wiggly. Okay, so
yeah, so you can do that.
we want it to be able to hammer around the edges.
Yeah, so that's perfect. Just try and get, like, after you put that one in the middle,
Yeah,
then just kind of scoot that back so it's more in the middle of the.
that's in the middle. This one's in the middle.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Nail.
This is the tricky part.
This is the tricky part. How you hold it and put a nail in.
Exactly. Here, I'll start it.
Okay.
Hold on. Get another one in.
These gloves don't have a lot of traction. They're kind of like.
And when you bend this over, then start hitting here,
Okay.
just and then so it wraps around.
Yep.
Real tight.
Okay. You know what? If you want to just put them all, tack them all in, I can hammer them all down later, just so we can get them all in. You know, just saying. Like,
Oh, we'll be all right. We'll get the 2 of us will get these done.
it's supposed to be windy and cold tomorrow, so 40 and a 40-mile-an-hour wind doesn't really.
What you're saying is you're not coming out here?
Well, we'll see what I have to do. It'll be way easier if I could just tap them in and do the lower ones. And
Yeah, but I think we can get them all done. For the nails I've got, we can get them done.
phew, wow.
Right.
Teamwork makes the dream work, I guess.
Yeah,
It does go faster with 2 people.
How about that?
So the tedious part's done. I know it's like we've been in the stage for a while, but a lot of little tedious things, drilling little holes, strapping things, aligning things.
But strapping didn't take too long, but it gives it a lot more rigidity, so
Yeah.
it'll be better with the snow up there, with the winds and stuff that we get. So
Yeah, so definitely had to do that step for our location. People wonder about wind, and well, there's not too many greenhouses in our area that are still standing without missing panes unless they're built like this.
Right.
Yeah, we're kind of at that finishing point of this, ready to move on to the exciting stuff.
Yeah, well, door and then putting all the glazing on.
Well, and is the paneling, should that be done first before the door? Because if the door goes in without any rain protection, I'm wondering about
No, well, it's just the framing for the
the
door.
framing for the door. Okay, so frame out the door,
Yeah.
which is it too complicated?
No.
All the lumber is supplied in the kit.
Yeah, it's all
So-
cut, so we should be able to have that done in a morning.
Okay. Yeah.
So
All right. Well,
awesome.
all right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will keep you posted on our next nice weather day. It's not happening this week. I'll give you that, and give Brian good luck vibes for his race next weekend. He's going to be out in Fruta,
Yep.
pedaling away 100 miles.
100 miles.
Yeah. So he's going to win, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do well.
He will do well. So anyhow, guys, catch you next time.
Bye-bye.